So it's Sunday, 6 p.m. right now. I love coming to the gym on the weekends, like when it's actually like 6, 7, 8 p.m. and the gym is completely empty. There's just a vibe to it, like that makes you like extremely focused. And yesterday I went to the gym for the first time since I went from Florida to Montreal. And it was 7:30 p.m., 8 p.m. I was training, doing all of this stuff, and I was working on my weaknesses yesterday. I was doing hang snatches below the knee because my first pull is not the best, okay? My first pull is my number one weakness in the snatch. And so that truly showed how much of a weakness my first pull is. I was really struggling already with 100, 110 kilos. Then I went for 120 and I missed like 3 times my snatches. And as someone who snatched 160, 155 in competition, 171 from the blocks, missing 120 is something that hasn't happened in the past 3 years, 4 years. And so it was kind of a hard training session, especially at the start, because I was like, how come am I not able to snatch 120 kilos, right? So I went back down, rebuild, did 120 for a set, and the second set, on the third rep, I fell again. My coach is like, okay, just work at 110. I work at 110. I don't make any misses, but still it felt super heavy. Because one of the best variations for the first pull, so if you want to get better, is hang snatch below the knees. And it was super hard for me, and actually I'm really sore from my lower back, my hamstrings today, my glutes. And then I go into the clean and jerk. And on the clean and jerk, I'm working with 100 kilos, 110 kilos. I go up 130, and 130 for 4 reps was extremely heavy. And it was not that it was heavy, I was just super out of breath, right? I was super out of breath. And I told my coach after the third set, like, yo, I don't know if I have the fuel to do 2 more sets. But he was like, hey, it's just 130, let's go. So I went there, boom, finished. And once I finished the clean jerks, I was done, guys. I was extremely tired. I was like, I don't usually like put tiredness as an excuse or whatever, because, you know, it's extremely necessary in this sport. But I was like this, guys, after my training session. I was like this, and I didn't move for over 20 minutes. And what I'm trying to get to here is that during the preseason, especially in weightlifting, it's literally the hardest part in weightlifting. And as someone who's been injured for over 6-7 months, 2 or 3 times, preseason is harder than being injured. Because when you're injured, you can focus on accessories, you can focus on movements that don't hurt, right? And you usually push those movements. You usually push accessories as much as possible, you push squats as much as possible, and you see improvement, right? But in the preseason, usually you're not in the best shape. You're doing a lot of reps, which we as weightlifters, we hate a lot of reps. We don't like cardio. We're out of breath all of the time. And we're working with your 70-75%. And it feels extremely heavy. Sometimes even we miss, like me yesterday. Sometimes, you know, some days you're just really tired because of work. We're very tired because of our business. And it's truly hard, the preseason. And when I was doing my snatches with 120 kilos, in my head I was like, how the heck am I going to snatch 180? How the heck am I going to clean and jerk 205, 210 kilos? And I went up to my coach and I was like, hey, like, are we on the right path right now? Because I feel that since I did 171 kilo snatch from the blocks, I haven't like had the best training sessions, right? And he was like, he explained to me about, you know, all of these preseason stuff, and that is very important to work with a lot of reps in preseason, things that I already knew, but it's always good a reminder. And so the reason why I say that preseason is really hard is not only because after training sessions you're really sore, you're really like, you know, you feel without energy. It's because mentally, when you're missing 120 kilos, you're like, the dots don't connect. I'm missing 120, how the heck am I gonna get to 170, 180, right? I'm doing 140 kilo clean and jerk, but I want to do 210 and 140 feels hard, right? How the heck am I gonna get there? And I've seen that pattern truly go over and over in my career. It has happened at least like 6-7 times. And it happened to me for the first time when I won my first Pan American Championship. It was my first international competition. And we started with the preseason, and at first it was great. But the more we got into the preparation, the hardest it was, the more sore I was, the more weak I felt, and it was extremely hard for me mentally, not only physically, right? So I got into the competition and I missed the snatches. It wasn't really great, but I ended up winning the competition. And I went into the competition and I won, right? Even though my preparation was not the best. And for example, 2 years later, I was set to become world champion, youth world champion, right? And the preparation went pretty well, but came to the competition and I finished 5th. So where I'm trying to get here is the importance of believing in the unseen, right? Because as I said, when you're missing lighter weights, you ask yourself, how am I gonna get to bigger weights, right? It's really important to, number one, believe in the unseen, and number two, have a coach that believes more in yourself than you, right? So my coach was like, man, you're gonna get to 180 and 210 in the next few years, right? It's just a question of time and training. But during that session, it didn't feel like that. And tomorrow, because I'm really sore right now, it's not going to feel like I'm able to snatch 180 to 10. But that's why it's so important to believe in the unseen, on things that you haven't seen yet in the physical world, but that you're able to visualize in your mind. If you're able to constantly visualize where you want to get, you're eventually going to get there if your actions match that goal that you have, right? So you can visualize all you want snatching 150 kilos, but if you don't give your 100% in training and 100% in your recovery, and you don't have a coach, you're not even gonna snatch 100 kilos or 120 kilos, right? And so that's why it's so important to, number one, believe in the unseen, and number two, have a coach that believes more in you than you do yourself, right? And the importance of this is because sometimes you're gonna have a very hard training week, right? You're gonna have a week where your training is very shit, or even maybe 2 weeks, because maybe your kids are not letting you sleep, because maybe things are not going well at your job, or maybe your sleep is not the best. And that's when a coach comes in and not only holds you accountable, but tells you, hey, this is normal, right? Here's how to fix it. And there's also, and what I see two versions of lifters. There's the ones that are very impatient, and there are the ones who are very patient. And I will not even call it patience, I will call it laziness. And it's the lifters that wait 6 months, no results. 8 months, no results. 12 months, no results. That is not normal. 6 months of no results, 8 months of no results is not normal. If you've been lifting the same weights for the past 8 months, you're doing it wrong. Sorry to break it down to you, but you're doing it wrong. It's either you don't have a strong why, either you don't have the right training system, or either your coach simply doesn't know what he's doing. It's as simple as that, right? And so the thing is, there are adaptation periods where for 3-4 months, you don't feel great, you're not progressing. But if it's been 6 months, 8 months, a year that you're simply lifting the same weights, you're not being patient, you're being lazy because you don't want to change. Going to the gym every single day is not discipline. Being to the gym every single day is not being special. But changing what you're doing and getting out of your comfort zone, that's what's special. That coach that doesn't truly even review your videos, that is only a payment collector, is not a coach. If you stay with him, but you go to the gym every single day, that doesn't make you disciplined, that makes you lazy. Because you're not changing and you're not getting out of your comfort zone and investing into a coach that is actually going to be there one-on-one for you, right? And so, discipline isn't going to the gym. Discipline is realizing that what you're doing is wrong, and that's why you completely change what you're doing, right? Or you talk to your coach, communicate with your coach, right? I've had multiple athletes that come to me and they're like, Brian, like every single person on the team is improving, but I don't see any improvements, right? I don't see like I'm progressing in your coaching. And I'm like, well, you don't send me your feedback every single training. You send me your feedback once a week or once every 2 weeks. You don't book calls with me. You don't send me your videos. You don't actually do your accessories. What are you saying? I'm a magician? What are you saying? I'm God and I'm just gonna, make you go from 60 to 80 kilo snatch? If you don't put in the work, there's not much I can do for you. The reason why you see all of my other athletes get so much crazy results is because they send me the feedback. It's because they actually do the training. But you don't do much, right? And so the thing is believing in the unseen, so keeping your vision, visualizing, so it actually eventually becomes reality. Second thing is having a coach that is there one-on-one for you, gives you the right training system and believes more in you than you actually do. And third thing is to actually focus on the inputs. Because as I said, the law of visualization only works if you apply the law of action, right? If you don't put in the inputs, you can visualize all you want, but you're never going to actually get there, right? And the law of inputs is not only going to the gym. It's not only doing your recovery. It's changing things when things are not going well for a certain amount of time. If things haven't gone well for the past 2 or 3 months, that's okay. That might be normal. Communicate with your coach. But if things have not been well for the past year, then you need to sit down with your coach and be like, what the heck is happening? I need some explanation because this is not working. And if he or she doesn't give you the right explanation that actually makes sense, it's time for a change. If not, just keep going to the gym every single day and keep not having results, right? I talk to so many lifters on my DMs and they've been stuck for a year, 2 years, 3 years. And it's like they don't have any urgency, but they still go to the gym every single day and they think they're disciplined. You're not disciplined. You're lazy. Because it's easy to go to the gym because you like it. What you don't like is sitting down with your coach and having that uncomfortable conversation. That's actual discipline. That's actually being courageous, right? And so doing things that you like is not having discipline. Is doing things that you're supposed to do even though you don't like them, that's actual discipline.